Hi, it's Tony Marino, host of the super popular Newsmax Daily podcast, a rundown of the day's top headlines and top highlights of Newsmax shows and interviews you may have missed, plus some sports, stock markets, and even some yucks, all packed into about 20 minutes. Search for the Newsmax Daily with me, Tony Marino, on your favorite podcast platform, and check out our entire lineup of great podcasts, including Greg Kelly, Rob Carson, and Jerry Callahan at newsmax.com/listen.
Now. You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
T-minus 1 day until Friday on the Rob Carson Show. Hello, welcome to it. We are broadcasting on radio stations around the country. Hopefully more. Do you hear that, Salem? Did I say that out loud? Anyway, on radio stations around the country, and also I might mention streaming live on all of Newsmax social media, including the Rumbly-Roo, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We're on YouTube. We're already kicking butt with YouTube. Only been on there a couple days, so it's fantastic. Welcome to the show. I do have to start the show with some bad news. I apologize. If you're a Democrat.
We love to win. Winning, so much winning. It's lots of winning, 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 lots of winning. It's oh so good.
Oh my God. The economy grew faster than expected in the second quarter. It was 3.8%. That's 4%. That's like, 4 times as much as Joe Biden was president, because he was a terrible president, you see. I know. Commerce Department releases closely watched GDP data. The Bureau of Economic Analysts, the BEA, also known as Ant B, I believe, released its third and final estimate of second quarter GDP, 3.8%. Oh, my God, even worse. Even worse news. Unemployment was down. Here, listen to the headline here. This is so hilarious, the headline. This is from the Daily News Record, whatever that is. Fewer Americans filed for jobless benefits last week, despite signs of a slowing labor market. Well, you see, if fewer people sign up for unemployment, it means the slowing labor market is speeding up. So there's that. Oh, and then on top of this, you guys who have the Wall Street Journal, you read the Wall Street Journal, you might want to line your birdcage with it, because you're also wrong about everything. You're all jumping off the ledge and, standing on the ledge and saying, oh, Trump's tariffs are terrifying. They made $27 billion last month. So there's that. Yeah, that's in the term of a year, about $400 billion, about $500 billion, and it's growing. It is growing. So all of the things that Donald Trump is doing with the economy is working real well, you see. And the Democrats are still trying to scare us about a government shutdown, but they're also begging Donald Trump to work with them to avoid a government shutdown. They're frightened. Okay, I'm just going to tell you, the loudest voices are the least heard in our country. You got people screaming and shouting, doing whatever they can to distract from the success of the Trump administration. That's what this is all about. That's what all this nonsense is about. And guess what? It's working. It's becoming undeniable. Now, for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you may recall that last year I said, actually a little over a year ago, because it became a mantra of mine. It was, if 80% of us believe the country's headed in the wrong direction, 80% of us can come together to save it. You remember that? Remember that? And then I said, hillbillies, Hebrews, and homeboys. I came up with the expression, hillbillies, homeboys, and Hebrews. We're going to come together. It's not meaning to be exclusionary in any way, shape, or form. I just needed to keep it tight. You can include Hispanics and homeowners and handgun owners, even people who don't start with an H. Because 80% of us believed when Joe Biden, Autopen was the Pudding for Brains Autopen was the president, every metric of quality of life descended into the crapper. Including, of course, opening the southern border and all that. And that's why Donald Trump included a portrait of the auto pen in the Rose Garden last night. I thought it was really funny. You know why? Because that's who was the president when Joe Biden was the president. So I love the fact that Donald Trump is rubbing their faces in it. That said, listen to this. Nearly 8 in 10 voters believe that the United States is in a political crisis in the wake of the assassination of conservative icon Charlie Kirk. I said 80% of us believe the country's headed in the wrong direction. 80% of us come together. Then you started hearing 80-20 issues. There are 80-20 issues. Actually, some of them are 90-10. Like Democrats believe that boys can become girls and beat the snot out of girls in sports and go into girls' locker rooms and watch them get naked saying they're girls. That's the Democrat Party. I know. And then they're also espousing violence all over the place, calling us Nazis and fascists. So much so that people who murder people are scribing on their shell casings that they're a leftist and repeating the same words that the Democrat Party have been screaming. There you go. So there you go. According to a Quinnipiac University national poll of registered voters released on Wednesday, a massive 93% of Democrats, 84% of independents, 60% of Republicans said the nation is in a political crisis. It is. But one side is on the wrong side of history, and they're going to get their asses handed to them. And I'm going to tell you right now, the people who thought it celebrated Charlie Kirk's murder, they're the loudest voices but the least heard. All right? They're the loudest voices but the least heard. Nobody's listening to those people. They are harpies from hell. They are demonic. Nobody's listening to them. The 80% of us all know that we're in a political crisis in this country, and the 80% of us are ready to come together on the right side of good. And the 20%, these fools who are celebrating things like Charlie Kirk's murder and calling ICE agents Nazis and whatnot, well, y'all can go straight to hell. You're going to get your rear end handed to you. You're going to disappear into the dustbin of history. And if you are a Democrat, I would suggest you leave the party as it is right now. Because you know it's wrong to celebrate when someone gets murdered. There's something wrong with you if you do that. If you're that person, you might want to just stop, take a deep breath, look into a mirror and go, what the hell is wrong with me? The Kirk assassination lays bare raw, bipartisan concerns about where the country is headed. Yeah, because most people, 80%, don't believe it's right to murder innocent people. Yeah, and most people don't believe it's right to celebrate when a man who preached the gospel and preached conservatism and engaged people in open debate were murdered. I told you my half-sister, who I discovered a few years ago, we had a debate. She's a Biden supporter. She's normally ding, 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 there's nothing going on up there when it comes to politics. And I love her to death, by the way. I do. We just don't talk politics because she's so out there. The other night, I'm in a conversation with her. She said, what do you think of this Charlie Kirk? And I'm like, oh, she's going to start ripping on him. I'm going to call him a racist. She goes, I thought he was a wonderful man. I can't believe somebody murdered him. She said, I didn't know anything about him until he got murdered, and then I started watching his videos. I don't understand why he was killed. That's my half-sis. 71% of voters think politically motivated violence in the United States today is a very serious concern. 22% think it is somewhat serious. 3% think it's not serious. Well, those idiots on the left. This is a jump from the Quinnipiac University June 26 poll when 54% thought politically motivated violence in the United States today was a very serious problem. 37% thought it was a somewhat blah, 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 blah. 80% of us believe we're in a political crisis. 80% of us can come together to save our country. I said this a couple years ago. I said it last year. I'm saying it right now. And I said, hillbillies, Hebrews, and homeboys are going to come together.
Homeboys, hillbillies, and Hebrews are Rob Carson's friends.
This is Jim Gossett, by the way.
Better believe that they'll be friends to the end. Willie!
Come on.
A new coalition to promote freedom. They're all about liberty. The perfect trio to combat the left and look out for you and me.
Come on!
Mamas, please let your babies grow up to be homeboys.
We love homeboys.
Hillbillies and Hebrews is who you should raise. You'll receive nothing but absolute praise. Homeboys, hillbillies, and Hebrews are saving this country. They love this land and they'll give you a hand. We need to give them our thanks.
Yep.
Homeboys, hillbillies, and Hebrews are friends to this nation.
Yeah, we are.
They've got our back when we're under attack. homeboys, hillbillies, Hebrews.
Yeah. Generally, when you outnumber the opposition 80-20, means you can kick the opposition's butt, and we're going to do that. They're picking a fight with people that they shouldn't pick a fight with. I've told you this. We are the most well-armed intellectually and physically people in the world, and we're getting sick of this nonsense from the left. We are sick and tired of seeing these Antifa a-holes wearing their masks and going out and spraying people in the face with mace like they did with Andy No, etc. We're done with this nonsense. And we got to leave them behind. Every day you got to come in, and I promise you I'll do my level best, as I did during the election year, to overwhelm the left with joy and patriotism. Real joy and patriotism, all right? And then I'm going to use mockery, ridicule, and satire to tear them down. You know why? Because the left can't be taken seriously anymore. You can't have a debate with people who would dance about when Charlie Kirk gets murdered. You cannot have a debate with people who think a boy can become a girl and a girl can become a boy. You cannot have a debate with them. You have to just leave them in the dust. So I'm asking you, if you're a Democrat or a Republican, you can remain a Democrat. Just start having a little common sense, okay? You're going to be a lot happier person. There you go. You're going to be a lot happier person. We got a ton of stuff on the show today. We got guests. We got new satire from Jim Gossett. We got your phone calls at 800-922-6680. This is the Rob Carson Show.
He's got these magical doctors who claim that he was shot in the ear, but his ear, I guess, grew back.
Joy Reid is a nutcase. Says I wasn't shot. That's why she doesn't have a job. 'Cause brain she hasn't got. Common sense she hasn't got. Joy Reid's insane. Her opinions are inane. Now she is unemployed as she should be. Joy for you and me. If I ran MSNBC, this is what I'd do. I'd tell Joe and Mika to hit the road, and I'd can Mad Cow too. Joy Reid is a nut. She's out on her butt. Me in the White House made her lose her mind. With hatred, she is blind.
On street protesters, we've had our fill. But Randy Fine has a bill, says move them on over. Run them all over. Run over protesters blocking all our roads. The Thump Thump Bill is what it's called. I'm sure the left will be appalled, but move them on over. Run them all over. Step on the gas if they won't step aside. Sure, it might leave a dent, but make them a hood ornament. Run them all over. Thump them all over. If they block our streets, they'll get what they deserve. We'll clean up the mess Kamala, she did not address. Open borders, he will abort, and illegals, he will deport. Thomas Homan, he will say no, man. You must go, man. Mexico, man, you're headed back. Thomas Homan, he's a former cop. border jumpers, time is gonna stop. Used to be in charge of ICE. To illegals, time will not be nice. Thomas Homan, they ought to know, man, he's not a showman. Thomas Homan will kick you out.
You better start packing now.
Thomas Homan, he is your foe, man. You've got to go.
The Rob Carson Show podcast is everywhere. Go to newsmax.com/listen for details.
It is a Rob Carson Show on a Thursday. I was going to play a soundbite there, but I didn't have the button pushed, so I'll start that right now.
Early evidence that we've seen from rounds that were found near the suspected shooter contain messages that are anti-ICE in nature.
Yeah.
The sniper had anti-ICE carved into the shell casings. But the media says no one knows the motive. Maybe the gunman was a comedian.
You can't just assume by that what was written on that shell casing that that's necessarily his motivation. He could have been doing that to thinking it was funny, trying to put law enforcement on the wrong track.
The rhetoric has to stop. There are people out there who are seeing what is being placed online, and they're coming and they're doing acts of violence against ICE employees.
Yeah, it's from the left. You know why I know that? Because I'm not stupid, okay? I'm not stupid. I come up with the expression, do you know why? Because I'm not stupid. About 5 years ago, when the left started gaslighting us on everything and acting like we're fools. Like, Joe Biden's, you know why I know Joe Biden's brain doesn't work? Because I'm not stupid. You know why I know the southern border is open? Because I'm not stupid. You know why I knew that wearing a paper mask wouldn't prevent the spread of COVID? Because I'm not stupid. I came up with that years ago, and I'm not stupid when it comes to the left being violent. I don't care what happened in Oklahoma City 30 years ago. And debate that all you want. What I'm looking at is the last 10 years of the left, the Democrat Party, the left, using words like Nazi, using words like Gestapo on people like Donald Trump and his followers, resulting in massive violence, starting on Inauguration Day 2016, going through 2020, and now in the last 4 years, 2 assassination attempts on Donald Trump, the murder of Charlie Kirk, and a host of other violent acts, all with the same talking points from the Democrat Party. There's no debate about it because I'm not stupid. And I'm not going to sit here and entertain your nonsense when 2 weeks ago, when Charlie Kirk was assassinated by a leftist, the left said, I don't know who it is. Violence comes from both sides. No, it doesn't. I'm not stupid. Honestly, I'm so done with this nonsense. Nonsense. It is utterly, utterly ridiculous. Here's a little more from last night.
Just a month ago, the same exact ICE facility got bomb threats.
Oh, really?
And another Texas ICE facility just a few months ago was fired on by
because the Democrats are calling ICE Gestapo and Nazis.
Antifa. They baited agents and launched...
They did the same thing to Elon Musk, and then the same damn people went out and burned his dealerships.
A sophisticated attack with military precision. We've seen riots outside of ICE buildings in L.A., Portland, and Illinois. Just yesterday, Antifa stormed an ICE facility in Oregon with homemade weapons.
Have you been watching the ICE agents take down the people who try to block their vehicles and give them a little wet fur, get a little tap on the head, a little pew, pew, pepper spray? I love that.
You see a pattern? MSNBC says ICE are the ones who should tone it down.
We have seen just the rhetoric escalate. We've also seen the very dramatic videos of ICE nabbing individuals and tossing them into unmarked vehicles. A lot of these ICE agents have been masked, and so it has been very divisive.
You know, this is the great thing. This is another one of those 80-20 issues. Most people, when they see the ICE rounding up the illegals, they cheer. You do a little heart, on the post. Hey, good job, ICE. They love it. They love it. The Democrats hate it because they brought in 20 million illegals across the southern border without vetting them to upset the balance of power in the country. And they're dying like movie vampires now that we're going out and we're busting them and everything. Here's who is this guy? Oh, yeah, this is Representative John Larson, who looks a lot like Ted Baxter on Mary Tyler Moore, or that guy same guy, by the way, the actor Ted Knight played in Caddyshack.
This is not Germany. That's the SS and the Gestapo. This is the United States of America. Unmask yourselves.
Yeah, honestly, you're a turd burger without the bun. Here's Abigail Spamberger. She's running for governor in the state of Virginia, and she says to her followers, let your rage fuel you.
Let your rage fuel you. Wow. Every time we hear a new story, we let it fuel us. Every time we turn on the news, we let it fuel us. Every time something bad is happening, we say, oh, that's motivation. I'll tell you this, I have an opponent who's incredibly motivating.
Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, she's absolutely awesome. Winsome Sears is awesome. Greg Gutfeld had enough of, what's her name, on the 5 yesterday. I love it. He just quite simply had enough of his co-host. What's her, Brian? I'm drawing a blank on her name.
Jessica Tardlove?
Yeah, Jessica Tardlove. It's T-A-R-D Love, I believe is what it is. Jessica Tardlove. Listen to this.
Oh, both sides anymore, Jessica.
Why did the DOJ take down the...
She's like, it's both sides. The violence is coming from the right, too. Rock.
Study that showed how much right-wing extremism...
What study was that? Which one? The one in The Economist that was sponsored by a group run by a guy in Antifa? That study that has been discredited?
That's well, the left is talking about this study, which is beyond stupid. It says like 80% of the violence comes from the right. That's bullcrap.
The Federalist, you're walking down a really bad alley right now.
Federalist?
Yes. I actually did see, Jessica, I did the deep dive on that study. That study was authored by a project that was run by a guy who says he was an Antifa. That is why that whole thing has been scrubbed, okay? It's real simple. Yeah. You label someone a fascist or a racist or a Nazi, it makes you free to attack them.
Yeah, because, we know that because we're not stupid.
And that has been the ideology from the start. It's weird.
So why?
No. Let me talk.
Does it?
What?
Just tell me why it's okay.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
I'm enjoying this.
Okay.
Oh my God.
You won't be for long. The left calls Trump a hate monger. They have called me a hate monger because I ridicule the left. I ridicule protesters.
Me too, because you can't take them seriously.
Ridicule academia, Hollywood, the news media. I make fun of The View every day. I make fun of the UN. Guess what? No one acts on the things that I say because my side doesn't do that.
Yes.
We say people are stupid. We say people are wrong, but we don't say they're evil. That is your game, okay? And then you come and you say, okay, man, this is a mentally ill loner. Well, who do you think does this stuff?
Yeah,
it's not Ben Affleck. It's not Tom Brady. It's not even Carrot Top. People who do this stuff are always that way. The question is, who points them in that direction? Why pick ICE? Why pick Kirk? Why target TV stations and put bombs under Fox trucks? Why vandalize memorials? Why kill kids in Catholic schools? Two things can be true. A person can be mentally ill, and you can be guiding him to that place in his life. That is how brainwashing works.
No one has ever been more dangerous to this country than Donald Trump, and he is a fascist to his core.
And shut down the Senate! We are at war!
We're at a war right now.
We are.
Yeah, you know what? You started the war, and we're going to finish it. I wonder if Greg had to floss after that butt chewing. I don't think she has a lot of flesh on her butt, to be quite honest. There's not much there. It's like, chicken wing. The very end of the chicken wing. Just that kind of bony part there. Anyway. Coming up next, Michael Charbon from Canada. Don't go anywhere.
3,500 arrests ICE has made so far. How many have a criminal record versus those who are just in the country illegally?
All of them, because they illegally broke our nation's laws and therefore they are criminals.
She's no KJP. More like Kaylee and Sarah. Her first press briefing was strong. She deals in facts, not liberal propaganda. We have been lied to for so long. And raise your hand. Be polite, or she won't call on you. Meet Caroline, kicking butt and taking names. She's not inclined to let reporters play their games. Sweet Caroline.
I love to end a war. How about you? I'm gonna end some more. You know it's true. India, Pakistan are at peace now. No war in Thailand, ceasefire in Iran. I'll take a bow. Rwanda and Congo ended their fight. And in Armenia, I made it right. Next up will be Ukraine, been a financial drain. Not anymore. Oh, how I love ending a war.
Today, when Trump, Meloni talk, they are called a threat to democracy. This is the left's double standard.
Italy elected Giorgia Meloni. A real conservative, no, she isn't a phony. Paper ballots, voter ID. No cheat by mail in Italy. If we ran elections like Italians do, a same-day vote, the count is true. We'd be solid red without a trace of blue. Things will change under Giorgia Meloni. Unlike Mitch, she's not full of baloney. She ran on God and family, and making her country legal free. Italy's moving to the right. Georgia's not afraid to fight. Italian people, they have seen the light.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, beauty, go.
Take off
entire career to bring back this song.
It's a beauty way to go.
And I can think of no better way than to introduce the great Michael Charbon, host of the Charbon Report and also a Newsmax contributor. How you doing this Thursday, my friend?
I'm wonderful, Mr. Carson. Do you know what the Supreme Court of Canada just did about a day ago?
Hard to say. What the heck did they do?
They reprieved the culling of 400 ostriches.
What?
400 ostriches. 400 ostriches on a farm where in December last year, 69 of them died of the avian flu.
Oh, wow.
Going through Canadian governmental, just brilliance, they decided, don't test the ostriches to see if any of them are sick. Let's just say, from a government standpoint, we're just going to kill all 400 of them. And it took the Supreme Court of Canada to stop the quill. This is what Canadian politics is.
Don't you think you have a little more important stuff? Are you kidding? The Supreme Court.
I'm serious,
man.
Wow.
The
government, and you've got RFK Jr. and Dr. Oz saying, well, maybe we should study the ostriches, maybe we should retest them. It's so interesting that we have the influence of the American medical establishment telling the Canadian RCMP that, no, please, don't kill 400 ostriches, that may be okay, and put a farmer out of work. No, it took the Supreme Court of Canada.
Well, Joe Biden killed millions of chickens. Remember, this is one of the reasons why eggs went through the ceiling, is because Joe Biden insisted hundreds of millions of chickens be killed because of the avian flu here in the States.
Well, you got a turkey in Washington now with Donald Trump, as far as I can see. So
what?
I don't know.
He's not a turkey. Now, you want to know some interesting thing about ostriches? Did you know that their meat is red? It is a red meat.
Yes, I've had ostrich meat, as a matter of fact. I have not had an ostrich egg, but I have had ostrich. I prefer them on boots. That's what's good about Texas.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, the thing about, if you ever went to, I'd want to go to a Renaissance fair where instead of turkey legs, they have ostrich legs. That'd be kind of fun, walking around with a big old ostrich leg. It'd be like that big rack of ribs at the end of the Flintstones that turns the car over. It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, you'd be the Barney Rubble of my life.
Yeah, there you go. Well, let's talk a little bit about your Canadian Prime Minister endorsing the Palestinian state. I mean, honestly, they had a shot at a two-state solution, and they blew it a few times, actually. And Canada's down with. I tell you what, why don't we just give one of the provinces to the Palestinians? If your prime minister is so down with it, give one of the damn provinces to create the new Palestine. What do you think?
I mean, first of all, Canadians are in shock. Many Jewish groups are in shock. But when you look at it, the United Kingdom and France and Australia, Portugal, and 157 other members also endorsed this plan. I mean, this is ridiculous. What really irks me is that not one of these people are asking what happened to the $41 billion that was sent to Palestine between 1994 and 2020. If you think about this for a sec, Rob. There's 2 million Palestinians, supposedly. That includes the military. That'd be over 20 grand for each one of them. Well, let's just understand what happened, right? I mean, the UN put $4.5 billion in 2020 alone, plus $600 million. Where did all that money go? Into tunnels and munitions. And now we're all going to sit hands and hold hands and say they're a state. Thank you, I'm going to say, for Meloni, Giorgia Meloni. That's the Prime Minister of Italy. This woman, she's got more cogliones than all these other guys. And I'm going to tell you, there's Antifa riots going on now with Palestinians and Antifa that are starting to destroy parts of Italy because they're offended that Italy didn't support the Palestinian state.
Well, I'm hoping that Giorgia Meloni kicks a little ass over there, because this is getting a little bit of nonsensical. Over here in the United States, Donald Trump declared Antifa a terrorist group, and then he's doing a number of different things to go. Trump signs an executive order dismantling domestic terrorism networks. Now, these are obviously very clearly happening in this country, very clearly happening around the country. I'm sure very clearly happening in Canada as well. So at least Donald Trump is doing something about it, and I'm hoping that this means a serious beatdown by law enforcement of these little jerks folks wearing masks and burning courthouses and whatnot. But they've risen up over in Italy. I have a feeling that's not going to be very short. That's going to be short-lived.
Yeah, because they're not going to tolerate stuff like that. And there's going to be many other European countries. Although some people didn't like what Trump had to say at the UN, finally someone stood up and called it the way it is.
Yeah, the only people who didn't like it, Michael, the only people who didn't like Donald Trump's speech were the people sitting in that room, not the people that they rule over. That was a speech to the people of the world who are yearning for freedom and faith, and there's nothing stopping MAGA going worldwide.
Yeah, and I mean, the unfortunate circumstance of the assassination, and I use the word assassination, of Kirk, has motivated many other people to say, this is it. I'm sick and tired, because a lot of conservatives kind of look at the liberal perspective as being a bunch of loons. So you can't have a discussion with. No. You can't even start to bring up facts because they start lying and start quoting Rachel Maddow's gospel, and you're kind of going, give me a break. What he did, and I love the way you coined a wonderful phrase about Rachel Madcow, and I have many people who come up to me and say, I've listened to Carson, and he says mad cow. I said, yes, yes.
She's got a virus. Yes. She's got a virus. I don't know what the hell. And she's so inconsequential at this point. She does one show a week now. She gets paid millions of dollars to do one show a week. And honestly, it's remarkable. Like I've been saying, the loudest voices on the left are the least heard. You saw with Jimmy Kimmel, one of the loudest voices on the left. Nobody's watching his show.
What did you think of his apology? What did you think of his?
It wasn't an apology. It wasn't an apology.
9 million people watching his show.
Here's the problem, Michael. He has taken the opportunity of his own volition to turn the Tonight Show into an editorial on his politics, and that is not what it's there for. And consequently, I don't think he's going to be around. He's not going to get his contract renewed. He's still not being picked up. I don't think Sinclair has carried his shows yet. And
No.
and I think he's, he may have gotten a little fluffing by this incident, which was not brave and also not caused by Donald Trump, but it's going to be very short-lived.
Well, I think it was very bold of those stations, both Sinclair and Nexstar, to say that they're not going to do it. And even after, he never said sorry. He never said the word sorry. It seemed like he was heartfelt. I don't think that he was faking it. But the unfortunate reality is after he says his little monologue and a slightly teary-eyed response, which again I believe was genuine, he went right back to it.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't.
Right back to
it wasn't. And you just exposed yourself, by the way. As a Canadian, you said sorry instead of sorry. I just wanted to point that out. You sound like Alex Trebek for crying out loud.
Oh, my God.
Michael,
the Queen's English. Come on, give me a break.
The Queen's English. Are you saying you're a queen? Okay, Michael Charbon, I want you to hold on. We're going to take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. It is the Rob Carson Show. More with Michael Charbon in one moment. Want to mention this, time is nigh as far as this offer from Birch Gold. If you're a first-time gold buyer, up to $10,000 in free metals on qualifying purchases if you want to convert your IRA or 401k into gold. Gold has had a hell of a year, 35% increase in value since the beginning of the year, $3,600 an ounce plus. That's up 45% from last year. And I have money with Birch Gold. It's not a whole lot. It's the money that I made when I put money in a 401k. Selling cars, thank you very much. But right now, if you just text my name, Rob, to 989898, get the ball rolling, because this ain't going to happen overnight. If you wait until the 29th, it ain't going to get done. So if you want to do it now, up to $10,000 rebate with qualifying purchases, text my name, Rob, to Birch Gold at 989898 today. You're going to be getting some free information. There's no obligation, okay, so don't freak out. It's like, oh, Rob's saying it's going to be done by September 30, and if I do it, then I'm going to get roped in. No, you're not. You're just going to get the information. Then you can get the ball rolling. Then you can do the qualification and all that. So there you go. 35% since the beginning of the year, 45% last year. You know how I feel about heavy metal. I love it, and gold is one of them. Text Rob to 989898 for Birch Gold. So, Michael Charbon, what do you think about this nonsense at the United Nations with the escalator not working, the teleprompter not working, and the sound system not working? I think it's a bunch of petulant leftist children, and I hope that Donald Trump and the Secret Service investigating it get to the bottom of it.
You know what? Too many things are coincidence. I thought that, I think it was a week before that they had talked about that.
Yes.
Because the U.S. is not putting $1 billion in, that what the UN really needs is money, American money.
Yeah.
And then, ironically, there was that comment about, maybe the escalator won't work. And suspiciously, the moment that your beautiful First Lady stepped on it and almost fell backwards into Trump's arms, the escalator stopped. Funny how that
and
works.
Also I'll mention, when you see an escalator stop with a world leader on it, that is terrifying, because it means that he is stationary. That means that he could be made a target. Now, I'm not saying this would have happened in the United Nations, but that's the kind of nonsense. This is your typical leftist, childish, crybaby, toddler, temper tantrum nonsense that goes around worldwide. Fortunately, Donald Trump about ready to give that kid a spanking in the United States. Honestly, I'm just so done with this, Michael. How much money are you guys in America spending to put all those people up? The only people that are benefiting is the people who sell meat in New York and hookers and booze sales. Because all these guys who come from around the world who can't do that at home, it's funny how when the door is open, when they're outside of their country, they're like guilty hoodlums doing stuff that they can't do. Yeah. That's what's going on. Well, my wife used to work for a company, I'll just tell you, they're Mormons owned. And when they came to town from Salt Salt Lake, they partied their butts off. Now, I'm not saying that about all Mormons, but, these things kind of happen when you get away from the whatever. But certainly it happens in the United States, the United Nations. We had our Christmas party at Newsmax at the United Nations. I perused the building, and I said it's going to be great condos one day, and I'm hoping it is, honestly, because Michael, what does the United Nations do for the good of the world right now? Nothing. They put despots on councils like the Security Council. They do nothing. They spent $600-700 million to bring people across our southern border. I think it should be disbanded completely. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. What do you think?
Well, I don't think it should be disbanded, but I think Donald Trump called Russia a paper tiger. I think the UN is a paper tiger.
Yes.
So let us really talk about your point is absolutely valid about the Security Council having certain country members who shouldn't even be part of that. I mean,
joke.
But there's no real. What does one say? It is a point of dialogue where everybody can all dress up in their cultural attire and lecture the world about what they think is right. And the reality is, as you said at the very opening of our session here today, they're talking to themselves. They're not talking to the people. And what Donald Trump actually said was, your country's going to go to hell. Who has ever said that?
Yeah.
Who has ever said that?
I love it. His speech, and one of the reasons I love it is that the left hated it so much. They went bananas. This kind of reminded me of, you remember when Ronald Reagan was the president, and he was joking around about bombing Russia. He was off mic, and he goes, the bombing starts in 5, and everybody freaked out, and then Donald Trump called the Soviet Union an evil empire, and everybody was freaking out. Oh my God, the world's going to end. But he did it for a reason. That speech yesterday, combined with the move toward patriotism and now faith on light speed since Charlie Kirk was murdered, this was a message to the people of the world, and this is spreading, Michael. It may take a while to get to Canada because you got some idiots in charge there, but it's spreading. It's already going to England. It's already going to France. Turkey's Erdogan is in town. Turkey's gone right. Poland has gone right. Argentina... Italy, oh my God, Georgia Maloney, who, by the way, oh my God, she's my hero. She's my hero.
I love her.
But that speech was a message to the people of the world, bro. And I.
But you know what the problem is that Trump derangement syndrome has muted a lot of that speech because it is automatic dismissal.
Yeah.
The problem is that many of the carriers of media around the world are so afraid, so left, because everything that they stood for has been proven wrong, kind of like communism.
Yep.
Everything that they're saying has been proven not correct. And what Donald Trump has said, I mean, he is a bit bodacious. I've been proven wrong, and it's the most selling hat. Sometimes he's got to stop those things because that's putting salt in a wound. But unfortunately for them,
you know what? No. Michael, he's been attacked 98% of the time in the media. They tried to murder him twice and put him into jail. I don't care about bombast. If you got a problem with his bombast, that's just too bad. He's not going to change. If you got attacked 98% of the time and somebody tried to kill you and put you in jail, you'd be using the same sort of bombast. So I'm going to disagree with you on that. Anyway.
I'm just saying presidential. The unfortunate reality is if two people have a discussion and one person is yelling and swearing, regardless if they're correct, they mute a lot of other people.
There you are with your Queen's English again.
Oh, God. It's the King's English now.
Oh, you admitted you were a queen a little while ago. You like to talk like one.
Listen, that picture with me in that dress is...
You would be an ugly woman. You would be an ugly woman. You keep identifying as a man. You need to stay there.
100%.
Yeah, Michael Charbon. I don't know where this conversation went. Michael, it is always a blessing to have you on, bro. Where can people find your glorious work?
MichaelACharbone.com. I'm on YouTube. I'm on LinkedIn. And I'm on the John Glasgow Show, which is Sundays on Newsmax at about 11:30.
All right, brother. Take care of yourself. Let's take a break. This is the Rob Carson Show. Oh, man, we got a lively discussion going on all the social media. If somebody saw my post this morning about food that I have to have things only with, it cannot be so. Okay, for instance, I cannot have Kraft macaroni and cheese without ketchup. right? And I can't have, what else can I have? I can't have scrambled eggs without ketchup. It's just, that's a non-starter. I cannot have pancakes without peanut butter and maple syrup. I can't have generally any kind of pizza without hot sauce. Pretty much, I'm not like Hillary Clinton. She lies about it. And then, let me see. French fries, most pizza. Yeah, those are my things. And I had a bunch of people sounding off on this. Some great conversation while we're doing the show today. Especially on you guys on Rumbly Roo, you've been talking a lot about that. Eggs with ketchup, eggs with salsa, all sorts of stuff. So that's just a little aside. If you guys are watching, I see you guys are watching on YouTube. I don't know if you knew this, but we went from 0 to most streamed on YouTube immediately on Newsmax. Pretty darn cool. The same happened when we started streaming on all the other social media platforms of Newsmax. Went to #1 streaming product with Newsmax. Oh, like that one day. So a lot of people are watching it, and there you go. We appreciate it. French fries, you got to have ketchup on French fries. The only French fries I have without ketchup are Boardwalk fries, Thrasher's fries, in Rehoboth or Ocean City, malt vinegar. That's it. Okay? Also greens. I don't have greens without red vinegar. A little bit of red vinegar on them. So anyway. Thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying the conversation. I hope you're enjoying the show. I have had ostrich, by the way. It's been a while. But could you imagine have one of those ostrich legs at a Renaissance fair? You'd have to have 3 people carrying it. Here we go.
About 3 minutes.
Politically motivated violence is wrong. This is the 3rd shooting in Texas directed at ICE or CBP. This must stop. To every politician who is using rhetoric demonizing ICE and demonizing CBP, stop.
Yep.
To every politician demanding that ICE agents be doxxed and calling for people to go after their families, stop.
Person who wrote anti-ICE messaging on their bullets, and there's some evidence that we have that's not yet public, but we know this person was politically motivated. They were politically motivated to go after law enforcement. They were politically motivated to go after people who are enforcing our border. And I think that is the most disgusting thing. It is time to stop the rhetorical assault on law enforcement.
It is the largest private domestic army of its type, police force anywhere in the world. He'll have 30,000 people that increasingly appear to be swearing an oath of office to him, not the Constitution. Masked men jumping out of unmarked...
That's Gavin Newsom. He has no chance of becoming the president. What he's doing is he's now attacking Donald Trump exclusively, attacking ICE exclusively to distract from the crap sandwich that he's made out of California. That's it. That's that. And the man, he has no soul behind his veneers and hair gel that he would say such things. By the way, this Joshua John, who murdered 2 migrants, then himself yesterday, armed with a rifle. His mother was bat guano crazy, by the way. She was a major hardline liberal who raged against guns of all things. I wondered what she's saying about that today. Sharon John, the mother of 29-year-old Joshua John, kept an active Facebook page where she followed everyone from Kamala Harris and Rachel Maddow to an account representing the U.S. Democrat Socialists. Oh my God! Let's see. After the tragic mass shooting in Uvalde, she posted a lengthy rant Facebook challenging Senators Ted Cruz and John Cornyn, as well as Governor Greg Abbott, for the support of gun rights, etc. And it looks like this kid was the same way. Of course, he did write anti-ICE on one of the shell casings, which is exactly like the person who shot Charlie Kirk. Here, fascist, catch, using the same words as the left. They belong to the left, exclusively to the left, not the right in any way, shape, or form. Everything we say is defensive. Everything they say is offensive, I should say. Let's take a break and come back. Hour number 2 of the Rob Carson Show is coming up, and it only gets better. Don't go anywhere.
No blind rhetoric.
No talking down to me.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think. Don't tell me how to think.
I trust Newsmax. Newsmax.
They don't tell me how to think. They let me decide.
Real news for real people.
about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show, hour number 2 on a Thursday, the 25th of September. Next weekend, I'm going to be in Delaware. And I love Delaware, by the way. I do. I wish Joe Biden didn't live there, but Delmarva. Rob Carson Show coming to Wings and Wheels on Saturday, October 4th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I'm going to be live there at the Delaware Coastal Airport in Georgetown, and they're going to all these classic cars together, and they bring in classic planes too, which is really, really cool. And I'm going to be there broadcasting live for 4 hours. Now, I have these Don't Catch the Stupid T-shirts, right? Because that's my expression, Don't Catch the Stupid. I end the show with it every day, and my TV show with it every day. And I ordered a bunch of these, and I'm going to be selling them because I'm paying for them, you see, so I'm going to sell them, okay? But I'm giving you a deal there, $10. I could charge $20. The vendor that I have online charges $30. But I think I'm just going to do $10. I'm not here to make a lot of money, all right? But we're going to be selling them there. I don't have I don't have one of those cash readers for the phone or those credit card readers for the phone. I think we're just going to do cash. Or, some sort of favor, wash my truck. Or just kidding. But anyway, we're there with WGMD 92.7 FM 98.5 as well. And Mark Giuliani is the proprietor of that radio station. He's an amazing man. He makes this studio possible in Washington, D.C. Mark Giuliani. And Walt Palmer is the program director. And I owe them a lot. Those two gentlemen, I'm just going to tell you, they have been more supportive than I could ever imagine. When I came to Washington, D.C. to do CPAC, I did it on my own volition, my own money. And those guys made sure I got on the air at CPAC. They did a brilliant job. And then Mark has this studio a block away from the Torpedo Factory, which is in Old Town Alexandria, right on the Potomac. It's so bloody lovely. Oh, my God, two blocks away from King Street. If you're ever here, you come to King Street, and we'll hang out together. There are 3 cigar shops on King Street. Oh, my God. It's like living in heaven. It is just so cool. But anyway, I owe a lot to Mark, and I owe a lot to Walt. And, again, Wings and Wheels is October the 4th from 10 to 2. And this weekend I'm going to take the top off a Buck, my Bronco, and I'm going to go driving in Lancaster County in Pennsylvania. Oh, Pennsylvania is so beautiful in the fall. It is ridiculous. I don't want to spend a whole lot much more time on these radical leftists and their attacks on us, and it's very obvious that the Democrat Party is the party of violence. It's very, very obvious that all of these attacks lately have become because of Democrats. If you don't believe me.
This is Gestapo-like behavior. Plainclothes officers wearing masks.
No, it's not. They wear masks. The ICE officers wear masks because they're being doxxed. And a lot of the people who Joe Biden let come across the southern border were members of international drug cartels. So there's that. And honestly, the Democrat Party hates so much that they're losing every ability to steal elections, and they're losing power. They're not going to win in 2026. You can keep smoking that crack if you want to, but it's not going to happen. Because they don't have the bail-in votes, they don't have the illegal votes, they don't have the media anymore, and so there's that. So now they're just gnashing their teeth, they're showing their claws, and they're doing this sort of stupid nonsense.
Words, masked men jumping out of unmarked cars, people disappearing, no due process.
No, you're full of crap. People like it, actually. People love it. The only thing you're doing is inciting insane people, and it's been happening for a while. Okay? Don't believe me? Here's Glenn Beck.
I said for years, something like, off the top of my head, socialists, anarchists, Islamists. Yeah. I think I also threw communists in there.
Yeah, all of that's going on right now.
We'll work together to destabilize Israel and Europe. It will spread to America, and the plan is to collapse the Western world.
But this is where it's going to get its ass handed to it first. Then it's going to spread around the world by declaring Antifa a terrorist organization and now an executive order to going after all of these groups that are fomenting this violence in America, it starts here.
Let's go to the timeline of the last few months. Let's start in December 2024. December last year. This 20-something guy allegedly gunned down United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, Midtown Manhattan. The killer's
I was in New York then.
manifesto raged against the healthcare industry, and left-wing voices treated him like some heroic Robin Hood. January 27, 2025. A man carrying a Molotov cocktail or two was arrested near the U.S. Capitol, allegedly saying he planned to kill Trump-appointed Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, Defense Secretary Hegseth, and House Speaker Mike Johnson. In February, we have the Tesla takedown. These are attacks on the vehicles and the dealerships all...
Why? Because he was a Nazi and a fascist.
Across. In March, a self-described queer scientist was arrested for allegedly firebombing the New Mexico Republican Party headquarters in Albuquerque. Graffiti that read ICE equals KKK was found on the outside of the burned building. April 2025, Pennsylvania, the governor there, Josh Shapiro, his official residence was firebombed on Passover night. The suspect allegedly set the governor's mansion on fire because of what Shapiro, who is Jewish, quote, wants to do to the Palestinian people.
That's from the left.
End quote. In May, it was the murder of 2 young Israeli embassy staffers. The alleged killer is a 31-year-old man who allegedly shouted, "Free, free Palestine." June. An illegal immigrant from Egypt.
There was another New Hampshire wedding reception last weekend. Killed someone there and yelled, "Free, free Palestine." That's a leftist thing.
Allegedly firebombed a peaceful Jewish protest in Boulder, Colorado. Also in June, a pro-Palestinian activist was arrested for allegedly torching 11 vehicles in New York. June was also the month when the mobs of anti-ICE rioters unleashed their fury on the streets of Los Angeles. July 7th, man shoots some officers. Rioters tried to burn down another ICE facility, assaulting police officers until the riots were broken up with tear gas and arrests. Graffiti on the side outside of the facility reads, "Kill your masters." Socialist, anarchist, Islamist. July 11th, we have more anti-ICE chaos. It erupted during a raid on a cannabis farm in Ventura, California. Activists again assaulted ICE officers and vehicles, with one protester appearing to fire shots at federal agents.
Yeah, and the Democrat Party either incites it or doesn't condemn the violence. That's your Democrat Party. I don't say Democrats are evil. I say the Democrat Party, as it is right now, is not an instrument of good. It's very obvious. And I know that there are a lot of common sense Democrats who are being overshadowed by these violent toddlers that have been the loudest mouthpieces, but the least heard. So I'm asking you, Democrats, please get your party back in order, or it's going to go away. You don't want to be a part of the group of people who are about to get their asses kicked. And they are going to get their asses kicked. We are done with this. I said Daddy's coming home when Donald Trump was elected. Daddy is coming home. You know what it's like when your mom would say, "You're going to get it when your dad comes home." Well, they're going to get it. And honestly, I don't have any time for it. Any adults out there, we don't have any time for it. We're tired of being gaslit about everything. And we're done living like this. We're not going to live like this. And you killed Charlie Kirk. And then you tried to make it sound like it was our fault. And then yesterday, jackass killed 3 people, well, including himself, in Dallas, because Democrats say that ICE is Gestapo and all of this. And you know what? We're not stupid. We know exactly where this is coming to. This is Bernie Moreno a couple of weeks ago talking about what the words of war the Democrat Party uses is doing, are doing.
You say we're at war and you must do anything you can to make certain that we protect our democracy. That is a bat signal.
Yeah.
To crazy people.
Yeah.
When a Democrat leader says that President Trump is Hitler or a Nazi, it's a bat signal.
It's exactly what it is. Joe Biden speaking in front of Independence Hall just to say Donald Trump and his supporters are MAGA fascists and enemies of democracy. That's your Democrat Party. Using those words as a public official should disqualify you from office. And I was talking to my friend Doug Burns, who's a magnificent prosecutor, former prosecutor. And I said, this is where the First Amendment does not apply. And people in office who are doing this need to be removed from office. Need to be removed from office. That's it. That's that. That's all. These are words of war. They are meant to create a warlike environment. Here's Pramila Jayapal. Just a few weeks ago.
We might call this getting strike ready. I think of it as getting us strike ready or street ready. Okay. And part of that is understanding our own strength. And as we develop that strength, being able to assess our risk tolerance, because we know that risk tolerance.
This is about arming them against us and what the left can handle with regard to blowback and fighting back from us.
Increases as the severity of the situation increases, and as our own understanding of what's happening increases. So overall, the more we understand what's effective, what the risks are, and who's ready to participate, the more impact we can have.
Yeah. The more we find out who wants to participate in an armed insurrection in our country, the more we move forward. That's what that was. Strike ready, street ready. They don't know that they're messing with the most well-armed intellectually and physically people in the world, in world history. Okay? They also are messing with Donald Trump. And like I said, Donald Trump is going after Antifa. He has signed an executive order to dismantle domestic terrorism networks. Hopefully we'll get news of George Soros being extradited for a military tribunal, and that would be kind of nice. But you know what? We're not going to do this anymore. And the icing on the cake was them murdering Charlie Kirk and then saying it came from both sides. Done. You guys have just put the worldwide movement toward God, the reaction to the action of evil that has overrun this world for a decade, and we're going to do it. Okay? You know, I think we avoided the rapture. I think we've got kind of a rapture light happening, except for, you know, there aren't going to be people left on earth while others ascend into heaven. There's going to be people left behind in darkness as we move forward in light. That's the way it's happening. If you don't understand that, you know, honestly, you better get ready for it, because I know everybody listening to this show right now absolutely understands what I'm talking about. Am I right? Did you drive through your neighborhood this Sunday morning and see all of the people out to go to church? This is bigger than they could have ever imagined. We're going to overwhelm them with goodness and light, and if they want to pick a fight, they're going to get hit back. That's it. But we're leaving it up to Donald Trump, this administration, and it's going to spread worldwide. Coming up, some good news. It looks like Jim Comey and Letitia James could be indicted. Oh, my God, isn't that fantastic? That's coming up. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Rent-free in libs' heads I'm living. The fits I am giving to Whoopi, Sunny, and Joy. Rent-free I'm occupying. Rosie is lying if she says I'm not in her head. Break free, they simply can't do it.
Diggy.
Relentlessly slowing the spread of the stupid every day. It's the Rob Carson Show.
Former FBI Director James Comey. Multiple sources confirming to Just the News that the Justice Department is in the final stages of deciding whether to seek a federal grand jury indictment in the Eastern District of Virginia, accusing Comey of giving false testimony back in September 2020 when he denied that he had authorized leaking any classified information. Now, this indictment is based on some
there's other stuff.
Documents that Just the News, if it happens, and remember, the indictment hasn't been handed up yet, but if it were to happen, it's based on documents we made public back in August that show the federal prosecutors had evidence that Comey did indeed authorize the leaks of classified information, while one of those was confirmed by his former chief counsel.
This isn't retribution. This is accountability, by the way. It is accountability. 100,000 million %. It's all about accountability. Here is Jim Comey lying in 2017 when the FBI did use the Steele dossier to acquire a FISA warrant to surveil Donald Trump's campaign.
Do you stand by your House testimony on March 20th that there was no surveillance of the Trump campaign that you're aware of?
Correct.
Well, you're a filthy, rotten SOB. Everybody knows you were. Everybody knows you lied. Give me a break. He's in some serious hot agua. Here's a little bit more of Jim Comey testifying and lying.
There should be no fuzz on this whatsoever. The Russians interfered in our election during
That's a lie.
2016 cycle. They did it with purpose. They did it with sophistication.
No, they didn't.
They did it with overwhelming technical effort.
It was all a lie to cover up Hillary Clinton's involvement with Russian oligarchs, Uranium One deal, among other things. She got $150 million to her faux Clinton Foundation.
And it was an active measures campaign.
Then she destroyed all the evidence.
Driven from the top of that government. There is no fuzz on that. It is a high confidence judgment of the entire intelligence community, and the members of this committee have seen the intelligence.
That was a lie. You're a lying Sacagawea, as my friend Chris Plant is known to say on television. What else? Or on radio. Letitia James expected to be indicted in the coming days. Yeah. Numerous reports have broken on Twitter saying that New York Attorney General Letitia James be indicted for mortgage fraud in the coming days. Some reports say Jim Comey will be indicted as well. Letitia James, of course, campaigned on going after Donald Trump without any evidence or any charges. And then she made him up. She charged him with things that were beyond the statute of limitations. She took what would maybe be, at best, misdemeanors, made them into felonies. Of course, had a sycophantic judge, had a New York jury, and convicted him on all of them. Tried to take away his fortune, but they threw that out. Tried to fine him $450 million, threw it out. And this isn't about retribution. This is about accountability, and both of these two need to go to jail, among others, by the way, among others. Here is Jake Tapper, who's not going to be long for broadcasting, and he is convinced that Jim Comey is being charged for nothing because of retribution.
And just to be clear here, President Trump wanting a prosecution of James Comey, does it matter what the charge is, or he just wants his political enemies charged with something?
Well, you mean like Letitia James did to Donald Trump? That's exactly what that is, Jake. But, of course, you missed that Joe Biden has dementia, and then you wrote a book about it.
Well, I think to prosecutors it matters. I mean, I don't think that the president is necessarily the closest observer of the criminal law, but I do think that for prosecutors, they realize there has to be a case that...
Yeah, and there is a case because, in case you didn't know, he lied a whole lot. Yeah, he absolutely lied a whole lot. That's what he did. So, hopefully we'll get some good news, and Letitia and Jim Comey will be the beginning of some glorious indictments, prosecutions, guilty verdicts, and jail time, hopefully. Here's Jim Gossett.
Jim Comey, news sources say, could be indicted any day.
Fingers crossed.
For his arrest, I hope and pray. Comey's a buffoon. Letitia James, they may indict. The case is strong, yes, it's airtight. Her in handcuffs, what a sight.
I bet she looks good in orange.
I'd love to see that soon.
Me too.
I really hope they both are nailed. Comey convicted, Letitia jailed. For their crimes they have to pay. It's time to put them both
away. Oh, sorry.
Away.
There you go.
Former FBI Director James Comey is expected to be indicted in the coming days.
Comey and Letitia, too.
That'd be nice.
Should get the punishment they're due. Please arrest them. Do it now. I want them both locked up. And how?
I love it, love it, love it. Jim Gossett has the Prezi. If you want to help him out, go to patreon.com, Jim Gossett Comedy. It looks like the FBI found classified documents in John Bolton's D.C. office. FBI agents executed a search warrant at his former National Security Advisor John Bolton's downtown Washington, D.C. office. Turned up documents marked as classified. Ooh, I hope he goes to jail, too. He's a POS. The search garnered on October the 22nd materials that reference weapons of mass destruction, the U.S. mission to the United Nations record related to the U.S. government's strategic communications. Both search warrants applications indicated FBI agents were seeking evidence related to 3 felony offenses, including gathering, transmitting, or losing national defense information in violation of the Espionage Act, retaining classified information without permission, among other things. Categories of potentially classified records that the FBI reported finding were travel documents with the secret label, confidential documents from the U.S. mission to the United Nations, and others. He's going to be in a heap of trouble. We might have some must-see trial television coming. Hopefully, maybe next spring. Wouldn't that be cool? I think it'd be pretty darn cool. The man with the plan and the glasses, Thane Rosenbaum, joins us on the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere.
With talent on loan from God, and have my brain tied behind my back, to be fair.
You were the sunshine of our life, Rush. That's why we'll miss you oh so much.
You know, I'm the mayor of Realville here.
You cut down liberals like a knife, Rush.
El Rushball.
Forever you'll be number one.
I am Rush Limbaugh, household name.
America needed a hero
in all 4 corners of the world.
And then you came to our rescue.
The Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies.
Competition, you had 0. How could so much talent be inside of you?
And don't doubt it.
You were the sunshine of our life, Rush. That's why we listened every day.
That's it. It's not much more complicated than that.
You helped us get through all the strife, Rush. No one will ever take your place, because Rush was the sunshine of our life, of our life, of our life.
Meeting and surpassing all audience expectations every day behind this, the Golden EIB microphone.
I make the Democrats look incredibly dumb. Inflation is down, the economy's starting to hum. Still, it's a real good bet. The best is yet to come. Best is yet to come since we bombed Iran. Taking out all their nukes, that was part of the plan. The border's secure once again. Illegals are getting in. Doge has saved us billions. This is what it's like to win. Best is yet to come, and it's gonna be fine. Best is yet to come. Hear the Democrats whine. Listen to them whine. The last laugh is mine.
I look at London, where you have a terrible mayor, terrible mayor. And it's been so changed. Now they want to go to Sharia law. But you're in a different country. You can't do that.
Now, that is an epic speech of the United Nations by Donald Trump, where he gave radical Islam the tongue lashing that it deserves after it's run roughshod across this world. We had George Bush, who after 9/11 said, "We need to understand why they hate us so much." No, we don't. And Donald Trump made it very clear on the issue that if you continue down this path around the world, you're going to go straight to hell. Thane Rosenbaum is a legal analyst and a law professor, the man with the plan and the glasses, joins us on the Newsmax hotline. How are you doing, sir?
Rob, it's always great hearing your voice, buddy.
What did you think about that speech?
I loved it. This is a guy continues to, say the things that people don't usually hear.
Yeah.
People complain that, he's not diplomatic, but diplomacy doesn't get us very far. If there are countries in the world that have their own agendas and they don't think that the United States means business.
Yeah.
And one thing that Donald Trump has established is he's not kidding around.
Yeah.
He said, I'm going to deal with the immigration problem. I bet you a lot of people thought, well, is he really going to do that? I mean, politicians say that all the time. That's going to be really hard to do. Is he really? On day one, he started doing it, and I think that the UN, largely at our expense, and I live in Brooklyn, so this just destroys my ability to get around town
I know.
whenever the UN is in session. I don't understand why we're paying for this.
Yeah.
Because they don't get anything. The best example of this is what's happened in Gaza.
Yeah.
We learned that there are UN people on the UN payroll that were actually at October 7th. They were involved in the crime spree. Yeah. We know now that they were teaching Palestinian students to hate Jews and to kill Jews. We're actually paying people. So it's an anti-Western, anti-American, anti-Zionist enterprise. I don't see what else they accomplish. And I think that Donald Trump read them the riot act, and they're not used to hearing it.
Well, I mentioned the last couple of days I've been saying that Donald Trump wasn't talking to the people in that room. He was talking to the people they rule.
Yeah,
that was it. I'm telling you, Thane, if you don't understand this, you got to look at Great Britain right now. You got to look at what's happening in France, for God's sake. They're done. This wave of they call it populism. It's actually founding principles of your country. And refusing this invasion, particularly by radical Islam. I'm not afraid to say radical Islam anymore. And I'm going to tell you, Islam needs to get its bleep together, because right now their loudest voices are making all the noise. And I think America's done with it. I think America's done with it. I think the world's got to be done with it. And here, for instance, this is Donald Trump talking in front of Emmanuel Macron et Fromage of France, when all these nations decided to give a Palestinian state another try, even though they've blown it.
Well, I have to say that I'm on the side of Israel. I've been on the side of Israel really my whole life. And we are going to get a solution. And it's going to be a solution, hopefully, that's good for everybody. But it's time to stop. We're going to have that very important meeting. I think the meeting we have coming up in the next hour is going to be one of them.
You know, the leftist nations, the New World Order, of course, they all want to acknowledge a Palestinian state, even though they've been given a Palestinian state. They blew it. They took all of the aid. They elected Hamas. The kids who they threw candy to on 9/11 grew up to commit the acts of October the 7th. The world tried to make the world forget about the second Holocaust of October the 7th. And we're not being fooled, Thane. We're not being fooled. What would you like to see Donald Trump and Israel do with regard to the Palestinian state in Gaza?
Well, I might have been stronger with Macron and Starmer, because what their problem is, that they're not admitting they should be doing what we're doing, mass deportation.
Yep.
If you believe in a strict adherence to Sharia law, you simply do not belong in a Western country.
No.
Sorry,
No.
Nothing personal. We think you're a lovely person. You're very good looking. But you don't belong in a country that, I know you're lovely. It's not about you. But if you believe in stonings, beheadings, dismemberments, lashings, if you don't want your women to read, if you can't have a woman in the same car with a man, if you're teaching kids to become martyrs to kill Jews, if that's how you roll, in Britain, Great Britain right now, Rob, and you said it before, but let me give you the number.
Yeah.
There are 150 Sharia courts.
Yep.
150. What? There
can't.
shouldn't be one.
No, of course
there
not.
shouldn't be one.
Of course not.
This is Great Britain. This is not Afghanistan, for God's sake.
Well, they're trying that same crap.
Do not let uneducated Muslim imams tell you what under Islamic law is permissible. The reason they have grooming gangs in the UK, where thousands of women, sometimes at the age of 12 to 14, have been raped by Muslim men all throughout Europe. The mainstream media won't tell you about this, Rob. They won't say it, but this is what the protests now are about. Where all of a sudden you're seeing Union Jacks and hundreds of thousands of British rebelling against the government's immigration policies. You're literally, I wrote this in an essay a few weeks ago. Yeah. You're getting men that are being prosecuted in the UK for raping 12-year-old white girls, and judges provide them with leniency, simply saying, well, it's a cultural difference.
No.
As if to say, in Islam, a Muslim man can rape an infidel woman and under Islamic law. So do you want us to live under Sharia law, where a Muslim man has the right under the Quran to rape a woman? Now, again, so far this is not happening in the United States. But in Europe, it's very common. They actually interview these guys on television, and they say, under Islamic law, I'm permitted to do this. And so I think that, the reason they recognize a Palestinian state is because they're kowtowing and placating people who are violent.
Yep.
And they're afraid. Jews are not violent. They're just the whole different, and they're much a smaller minority. throughout Europe. They're scared out of their mind against violence from Muslims.
Well,
and they will do anything to placate them, including rewarding Hamas with a state for having slaughtered 1,200 people. And how did they slaughter them? Beheadings. Guess what? It's the signature move. This is the groove of Islamists. Beheadings, dismemberments, gang rapings, and mutilations.
Yeah.
Not of our century at all.
Well, it cannot exist, certainly in the United States. We have a constitution. There cannot be Sharia courts. There cannot be municipalities run by radical Islamists who use Sharia law. It has to end. That is illegal. It needs to stop. I want to cover some more stuff on the other side of the break. Thane Rosenbaum, can you hold on, my friend?
For you anytime, buddy.
All right, let's take a break and come back. More with Thane Rosenbaum on the Rob Carson Show. Don't go anywhere.
I think it honors Hamas, and you can't do that because of October 7th. You just can't do that. But we want our hostages back, and we don't want them back in ones and twos and take the next 2 years to do it. We were the ones that got the hostages back, and I always said, I told Steve, I told Marco, I was always saying the last hostages are going to be the toughest ones. But you can't honor them by doing anything like you suggest.
Yeah, and I said this on October the 8th, that the people who committed this have to be driven from the earth. That's it. That's that. that's all. And if those who cannot be converted into our ways, I've said evacuate the innocent, raze, R-A-Z-E, Gaza. That usually gets me taken off of Twitter when I do that. Thane Rosenbaum on the Newsmax hotline. I believe that there is a worldwide movement. I predicted this last year with Donald Trump's election, toward freedom and faith. And with Charlie Kirk's assassination, it's really, I believe, moved it into light speed. And I don't believe this is not exclusionary of Judaism. I think we are all in this together. What do you think about that, man? Because I'm very hopeful. I think we're turning evil back on its heels. We've got a long way to go, don't get me wrong, but I have a good feeling about this. What do you think?
Rob, people usually don't invite me on their shows if they're looking for good news.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I bring bad news. I thought the Jimmy Kimmel affair is not a good example of turning the corner, because when he returned to the air, he wasn't contrite. He was emotional, but people aren't being honest about this.
Of course.
He was contrite. He was only emotional because he was thanking the people that stood up for him. That's what he spent most of the time, thanking everyone who loved him.
Of course.
But he didn't really say it was, this is a show that is it's not a political show by nature, and I completely lied and misrepresented how Charlie Kirk had died. So when he said, I didn't mean to make fun of someone's death, then don't say anything about it 2 days after he was killed.
Yes.
You should have left that out of the monologue.
Yeah, but Thane, do you know what Jimmy Kimmel's return to the airwaves means in the grand scheme of things? Not a damned thing. I always say the loudest voices make the most noise, but they aren't heard. He had his little day in the sunlight. They decided to make him into some sort of excuse to start calling Donald Trump a Nazi and a fascist again after a week off after Charlie Kirk's murder. This isn't changing anything. This is a blip on the radar, Thane. His returning to television means precisely D word for Richard. He had 1.1 million viewers a week. He was being beaten by Greg Gutfeld handily, and it won't mean anything. It just doesn't turn the corner on anything. That's my opinion.
Well, look, you may be right, Rob, that the wave, the momentum is shifting right. It's shifting more patriotic. It's shifting more religious and Christian, not Islamist. But the left hasn't moved at all.
Yeah.
At all. Yeah. They keep digging their heels. Yeah. They should have. The left should have said, you know what, Jimmy, you got to go. It is completely uncool what you've done.
Yeah.
And we should not be fighting half the country. Yeah. We should not be blaming half the country. We should not give the false impression. He said, I didn't mean to give the impression. Yes, you did. You said.
Of course he did.
That MAGA.
Of course he did.
What do you mean you didn't mean to? Yeah. You said that that MAGA is trying to pretend that they have nothing to do with what happened, who the killer is. He's obviously among them. So what I'm saying is, even Bill Maher said, would it have been so difficult during the Emmy Awards for one person to get up, just one person in 3 hours of television, got up there and say, political violence is just outrageous. What happened to Charlie Kirk is outrageous. This country has to think much more critically about the kind of rhetoric that's being used, and that as the artistic community that is largely opposed to the MAGA movement, we want to say, we're very sorry for your loss.
Yes. You're not going to get it. Dang, it's nice to dream about that. It ain't going to happen. But here's the great thing about when the awful things that happened to us. October the 7th. What happened after October the 7th? They created a faux hospital bombing and tried to take our eyes off everything. But what it did was it exposed the anti-Semitism on America's campuses. Okay, so the left exposed its flank so we could kick its ass. The same thing happened with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. There were a bunch of people online who decided to dance like demons, celebrate it, and they are a very small minority of people. Again, the left exposes its flank so we can kick its ass. You have to understand that when things like this happen, you can throw your hands up and say, oh my God, we're getting beaten. No, it doesn't. It exposes them so we can beat them. So I'm eternally optimistic. Maybe it's because, I know a lot of Jewish people. I know they'll go, or even Catholics, my mother was that way. Throw your hands up. I'm not going to. I think we are turning evil back on its heels, bro.
All I could say is I hope you're right, but I don't see universities. Yes, universities are afraid that they're losing their Title VI, their funding because of violations of Title VI. Yeah. They see that the Trump administration believes that universities should believe in viewpoint diversity, that the entire university should not be on the left, that you should be, I tell people this all the time, at an Ivy League school, you could not take not only one class that supports Israel, there isn't one reading assignment in that class, not one.
I know.
Now, how is that possible?
Yes.
That at a university, you can't take a course that gives you a sense of why Israel is legitimate, why it's important, why it's a representative democracy, while it's part of the Western civilization. You can't get one reading. So Donald Trump is saying, you should have viewpoint diversity. I understand that the universities are worried and are trying to make some changes, but nobody on campus is saying, you know what, we have been dealing with this subject all wrong. We need to give more of a voice to conservative ideas. We need to introduce new readings into the curriculum. I don't see that.
Okay.
Now, you may be right that
yes. Well,
the right to kick their ass,
yes.
But they're not changing. They're not saying, you know what, we should have been what we did was wrong, and we need to...
5,000 people at the University of Minnesota the other night. Okay? You got 277,000 cell phones in the vicinity of the Charlie Kirk Memorial Service. You had 100 million people watching it. You had church pews overflowing with people. Yes, the fight is not over, Thane Rosenbaum, but it is well underway, and it is going to be defeated. That's what I believe, my brother. That's what I believe.
You're right.
In my heart and soul.
On your side.
I'm generally
on your side.
I'm generally right about these things. I'm just going like Donald Trump of the United Nations. I'm generally right about this stuff.
That makes me very happy to hear, Rob.
All right, Thane. My brother, always good to talk to you. Where can people find you on social media?
Well, you can always see my stuff on ThaneRosenbaum.com. And I'm on Twitter at Thane Rosenbaum.
All right.
And I have a Facebook page, but ThaneRosenbaum.com has all the writings and podcasts.
Well, one day we will break some challah and we'll celebrate the defeat of radical Islam. I think it's going to happen.
Love to be there with you, buddy.
All right, let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. I can't help but be optimistic. This doesn't mean I don't think we're in for a fight. Okay? But there is a worldwide movement, and we cannot let the naysayers, and we cannot let woe is me, we're just going to lose. Bull crap. I don't have time for that nonsense anymore. Don't have time for it. We've got to keep the momentum going. It is a movement of good. It is the yin and the yang. It is the yang. We are the yang to the yin of evil. We are the opposite reaction to the reaction of evil. That's what I believe. I believe it. You know why I believe it? Because I've been right about everything for about 5 years that I've been on the radio. I've been right about everything because I know it. I know it in my heart. I know it because of my life experience. Common sense. I've seen enough history to know it. I've waited my whole life for this. We had the censorship industrial complex fall. Okay? We are beginning to see conservative apartheid fall. It is happening. ABC, CBS, NBC, PBS, NPR, MSNBC, CNN. They're all dead. It's taken 30 years of my career to see this happen. Conservative comedy's on the ascension because the left can't be taken seriously anymore. The left has been exposed for the evil doers that they are. Radical Islam has been exposed. Anti-Semitism on campus has been exposed so we can kick its ass. I believe this. You cannot doubt. You cannot doubt. Charlie Kirk was assassinated 2 weeks ago. That has ignited a fire, and I'm going to fan those flames. I'm not going to whiz on them. That's it. That's it. There you go. I'm finished now. All right. What are we talking about? Oh, this is funny. I got to play something funny next. You are going to laugh next. Don't go anywhere. Trust me. Oh, my God. Here we go. This is going to...
Going to have about 2:40 here.
Good, okay. I've got one of the funniest things you've ever heard coming up in a second. Trust me on this, okay? When inflation jumps, you think about the national debt's $37 trillion. Don't you suppose maybe you should diversify your savings into gold? Because currency ain't worth what it used to be. Gold is, though. Gold's up 35%. Now, I had mentioned that right now, if you convert an existing IRA or 401k or savings into gold, if you're a first-time gold buyer, Birch Gold will match it up to $10,000. $10,000 is what they're freaking. Birch's Gold. What the what? No, $10,000. Right now, if you invest for the first time in heavy metal gold with Birch Gold, you can be eligible for a rebate up to $10,000 in free metals. You got to get it going because it ends September the 30th. That is 5 days away. And you got to do it today. I'm honestly, guys, you got to get it done this week because it doesn't happen overnight. So text my name, Rob, to 989898. Text my name, Rob, to 989898 for Birch Gold, but do it now. So Michael Pelka, who's a great guy, he does this wonderful talk radio prep service. He decided on WPHT radio in Philadelphia to hear what Kamala Harris reading her audiobook sounds like slowed down. And guess what it sounds like? She drunk.
In the summer of 2021, during her final trip to Washington as German Chancellor, I hosted Angela Merkel for breakfast at the Vice President's residence.
I think they were serving mimosas.
I am a stickler for being on time. I feel it's a mark of respect. Everyone's time is valuable, but sometimes schedules go sideways and I fall short.
You are an evil genius, Mike. That is so great. It's amazing.
June 27th, 131 days to the election.
That is brilliant. Michael Pelka put that together. WPHT in Philly. That is just classic radio right there, guys. That is friggin' genius. I might play that again. We got some more on Kamala Harris's book. She couldn't write a coffee table book of selfies. We'll get into that coming up on the other side of the hour. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Hi, it's Tony Marino, host of the super popular Newsmax Daily Podcast, a rundown of the day's top headlines and top highlights of Newsmax shows and interviews you may have missed, plus some sports, stock markets, and even some yucks, all packed into about 20 minutes. Search for the Newsmax Daily with me, Tony Marino, on your favorite podcast platform, and check out our entire lineup of great podcasts, including Greg Kelly, Rob Carson, and Jerry Callahan at newsmax.com/listen.
now. You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show. We are broadcasting in radio stations around the country and on Newsmax social media. We just added YouTube and Instagram Live. And the numbers are huge. People are loving the show. I really appreciate you guys watching me. Things have changed so dramatically since I moved to Washington, D.C. Wow, it's been like going on 3 months. Going on 3 months ago! Unbelievable. And can you feel it? Can you feel the momentum of good happening right now in the world? I don't have time for negativity. I don't have time for those who would say that the violence is coming from the right too. You're full of crap. For the last 5 years, I've said the reason why I know that Joe Biden has pudding for brains is because I'm not stupid. The reason why I knew that the COVID vaccine was a joke was because I'm not stupid. One of the things that I managed to get around all of the censorship and bull crap that we went through the last 4 years. Do you want to know a secret? Are you ready? When I was banned from saying that the COVID vaccine is not effective and a joke because they told me you couldn't and they shut us down on social media. Do you know how I got around it? I did comedy.
Take this jab and stick it.
What?
I ain't getting no vaccine.
That's how I did it.
Joe Biden's stupid mandate.
The dumbest thing that I've ever seen. You get it now?
Biden says take the shot or go home, so I'm walking
out the door.
Take your jab and stick it. I won't take this crap no more.
Yeah, that's how we did it. It's kind of like, underground comedy. That's how I fought it. Because they took me down off of YouTube. They killed my YouTube channel when I posted a truthful video that RFK Jr. did the day after the election in 2020. Facebook took my page away. And they still are doing this. You still have to speak in hushed tones when you say, oh, yeah, January the 6th was the Reichstag. It was a complete fraud. Roseanne Boyland was beaten to death. I could say that now. But we couldn't talk about anything for a while. And I'm never going to forgive the B-words who did it. I'm never going to forgive them for what they did to us. And they're still doing it now. Oh, the election of 2020, well, I don't know if it was stolen. Well, yeah, it was. Look at it. I mean, really, all of the voting machines in the battleground states stopping, counting, at the exact same time. They said there was a water main break in Atlanta. It wasn't a water main break. They went in under these tables. They took out giant boxes of ballots and they ran them over and over and over through the tabulation machines. And there's videotape of it. And then there's a movie called 2,000 Mules where there were thousands of people delivering ballots and stuffing ballot boxes overnight. I mean, come on. I'm not stupid, and I'm not going to be banned anymore. We have had to live through this nonsense forever. Absolutely forever. We did a bit. Let me see if I can find it here. Hold on one second here. Here's a parody. Here we go. Here's a parody that I did with about all the bull crap that they censored us on. And I'm setting it up because there's some big things happening this week with YouTube allowing Dan Bongino to come on. Oh yeah, thank you so much. You know why? Because Google's about ready to be dissembled. Okay, they're about ready to be taken down because they've abused the privilege. They still censor you. They censor you. Google censors when you're looking for information, they censor it like the Soviet Union did incoming mail for its citizens. They do it effectively blacking out part of your search. Like if you look up Hillary Clinton destroyed servers on Google, where's it going to show up? It's censored. They censor it. Hold on, let's look up here. Hillary Clinton. Clinton destroyed servers. Let's see what shows up. FBI Director James Comey statement. This is where he says there wasn't enough evidence. Okay, that showed up first. 38 people cited for violations in Clinton email probe. That's about it. Why Hillary deleted 33,000 emails. That's ABC, and it's going to be a giant butt kiss. You're not going to get the truth. They censor everything. Google still does that. That's why Bing came around. That's why, DuckDuckGo came around. You know, the answer to YouTube was Rumble. The answer to Twitter was Parler. Thankfully, Elon Musk bought Twitter and exposed to us the Twitter files. It took two liberals to show us how badly we were being censored. But back to, this is a song that we did on the show where I made fun of all of this, all of the censorship that happened.
Arizona and Corona.
Yeah, the election, the gubernatorial election when Kari Lake was running, 65% of the voting machines in the Republicans' most populous county stopped working on election day. This disinformation. No, it's true.
All the lies about them they've been telling you. How did they win it? The freaking Senate, when the votes that they received were very few.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't catch the stupid, don't buy their BS. That climate change is real, inflation's not.
It's a lie.
Don't catch the stupid, don't believe them, because distraction and diversion's all they got.
We all know that Hurricane Ian was the result of global warming.
Russian collusion led to confusion. January 6th is a smokescreen.
Yep.
The new Green Deal is a disguise steal, like their mandate forcing you to take vaccine.
There you go. That's how we did it. That's how we got around the censors on this show. Google's admission of censoring Americans during Biden regime omits its censorship before and since. Google admits it censored conservatives during the Biden regime, leaves a lot out. Google admitted the company was censoring conservatives during the Biden years. No joke. This infringement on free speech is unconstitutional and harm many entities like this one. This is the Gateway Pundit. Oh, they're a conspiracy theorist. Yeah, Google and Facebook oversee 2/3 of ad business on the internet. So when Google Ads platforms ask you to remove an article they don't like, they force you to comply or they threaten to take away your ad revenue. That's what's going on. That's why YouTube is suddenly, we were told by the Biden administration to get rid of the vaccine, whatever. Bullcrap. They censored everything and they're still censoring it. I want to read this piece that I did on Substack. If you want to subscribe to my Substack, it's Rob Carson Show. It's free. It's free now. We may charge eventually because, I need to pay the bills. But anyway, here's what I wrote. And this is a big deal for me. And I want you to listen and then subscribe to my Substack at Rob Carson Show. I want payback for America's Stalinistic censorship. I don't want just apologies. I want people to pay with their fortunes and freedom. Here we go. I'm reading this because I'm a pretty good writer. YouTube is now sheepishly allowing conservative content producers to get their banned pages back 5 years after the Biden-era Stalinist censorship nightmare. Too little, too late. I want retribution. And I'm not afraid to use that word because I can't be censored now. I want my bleep damn Facebook page back that was taken away the day after the election in 2020 before I made a post without a reason or any recourse. I want the 29 Facebook page network with 17 million followers I was on with Terry Little page. They took away on October 31st, 2018. Terry wants his $250,000 back that he paid to boost and build his network of conservative podcasters. I want to monetize my shadow banned YouTube page that was taken down and demonetized when I posted a truthful video by RFK Jr. about the vaccine. I want all my social media presence boosted after years of shadow banning. Truth Social, Getter, Parler, Rumble, all created because the big social media giants capitulated to Biden administration's evil demands. Joseph Stalin created the term disinformatia in 1923. The deep state Democrats blasphemed the First Amendment, instituted the most sickening affront to our Constitution and our country's history. I want the letter networks to apologize for betting down with the left and forsaking journalistic curiosity to ignore an obviously rigged election in 2020, a COVID vaccine that didn't work, and a president with obvious cognitive decline. I want Brett Baer to explain why he threw his hands in the air and accepted what happened the night of November the 3rd, 2020. It didn't just end there. I have a t-shirt merch company that censored my political designs during this period. Editorial cartoons and memes were taken down. Mark Zuckerberg can blame pressure from the government for his capitulation, but he also gave $400 million of his own Zuckerbucks to prop up Joe Biden's faux victory in 2020. We couldn't point out the obvious horror of the battleground state vote shutout on election night 2020. 2,000 Mules, a truthful documentary, was regulated to tiny audiences. The Atlanta Convention Center night water main break was exposed, but we couldn't comment on the black cases of ballots brought from under covered tables and the running of ballots through tabulation machines in the dark of night as the press was excused. Marty McCary, Robert Malone, Jay Bhattacharya, Mehmet Oz are all still haunted by the lies that hurt their credibility. We will suffer from this wretched episode with people still afraid to say the truth or even express opinions on things like the overpunishment of January the 6th defendants and the lie that it was an insurrection. I want the murder of Roseanne Boyland exposed. I want Ashley Babbitt's murderer brought to justice. Conservative journalists, columnists, and content producers are still warned to stay away from talk of the worthless COVID vaccine. They're still told, relatively unaffected. They're told the election of 2020 was fair. We're still told Donald Trump is a convicted felon. Now do you see the evil of the left and Democrats? This was the ultimate affront to free speech and the capitulation of social media. I want payback. I want restitution. I want retribution. I want justice. Now you can get the vaccine if you want. I did not get the vaccine. If you choose to do that, that is perfectly fine. But as far as censorship is concerned, we are beginning to turn the corner. If you want to subscribe to my Substack page, just go to Substack at Rob Carson Show. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards?
Fraud investigation of Pencil Neck. Bet Adam Schiff is a nervous wreck. Jail-bound, Schiff's on the way for his defrauding of Fannie Mae. Adam, you better prepare. Prison stripes are what you're gonna wear. His application, Pencil Neck lied. For his crimes, Adam should be tried. It's gonna be a real treat when they take away his Senate seat. Step down, do it today. Your auto pen pardon's gonna go away. Jail Jim Comey soon for his terroristic post. Comey in the slammer is what we want to see the most. In other words, lock him up. In other words, incarcerate him. Assassination threat should put Comey in the pen. Make sure that this loser won't see freedom once again. In other words, jail him today. In other words, make Jim Comey pay.
Did you see the portraits of the presidents that Donald Trump put out in the Rose Garden along the portico, this walkway? And in place of Joe Biden, he just put a picture of the auto pen. I think it's fantastic because Joe Biden was such a D word for Richard to Donald Trump, sicking the DOJ and the FBI on him and all that, and then call him a MAGA fascist enemy of democracy and all that. So you know what? You get what you get. I love that he's rubbing their noses. Joe Biden deserves no respect. No respect at all. Here's CNN. They're all butthurt about the picture of the auto pen.
Tonight, the People's House now has a trolling hall. The White House revealed a new presidential walk of fame with photos of presidents in order. But if you look closely, there is one particular president missing, or rather represented by something other than his face. Instead of a photo of President Biden, there is a photo of an auto pen.
I know, it's cool.
Hilarious.
Yeah, it is.
I suppose.
It is, yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I'm looking forward to the auto pen responding to this, by the way.
Feels very beneath the office, but...
No. Standing in front of Independence Hall and calling half the country MAGA fascists an enemy of democracy, going on vacation 40% of the time, and having dementia. Those are beneath the office, actually. And then lying about it.
Yes, go for it.
True or false, the auto pen signed more things under Joe Biden's last year in office than Joe Biden signed?
I mean,
is it really trolling if it's true?
No.
Doesn't Trump use the auto pen as well?
Doesn't Trump use the auto pen as well? Yeah, he does for freaking Christmas cards.
I promise you, when it comes to pardons...
Donald Trump uses the auto pen as well. Violence comes from the right, too.
In clemencies, it's going to be his own signature. Like, he actually shows up for work and doesn't take naps for it.
There you go, yeah, because he was on vacation 40% of the time until Kamala Harris took over for his campaign without any Democrats voting for her, and she's a dingbat. Then he went on vacation 65% of the time. Thought you should know. I thought you should know. It's kind of true. No, it's absolutely 100% true. 100% true. This is pretty sickening. The night before Charlie Kirk was murdered, Erica Kirk called a friend to come over to the house to pray for Charlie after a feminist website, Jezebel, paid witches on Etsy to curse him. According to Megyn Kelly, Jezebel bragged just 2 days before Charlie was assassinated how they paid for multiple curses to punish him. Here's Jezebel. It's the far right misogyny with bad haircut wants to villainize independent women. Jezebel is more happy to be the hag of his nightmares. But the internet has its downsides. Exhibit A, Charlie Kirk, maybe its obsession with telling women what to do, or his aggressively large head, but the far-right podcaster presence is more irritating than most. That's when I remembered there's an Etsy. So they did. They hired witches, three witches, to cast a spell on him. I don't know if you believe this. I do believe in karma. I do believe in good and evil. I told you the other day, these people online who were celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder and dancing like demons, I believe they're evil. I really do. And this is, here's Megyn Kelly talking about this curse.
And while their article about all of this it was published on Monday, September 8th, it makes clear that the writer contracted for the curse in late August. She says she wanted it to line up with the new moon in Virgo, which this year meant August 23rd.
This is evil.
That tracks because she points out in the piece that by August 24th, she was waiting impatiently for results. Yeah. The witch, they reveal, promised on August 23rd that, quote, you will see the first results within 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah. He was murdered 2 weeks later. Here is Megyn Kelly talking about how Jezebel has since taken down the article.
After the shooting, Jezebel took down the article, quote, on the recommendation of our lawyers. They underscored that the piece was meant to be humorous, intended as satire, and that they made clear they wished Charlie, quote, no physical harm, which is not the full story now, is it? At the same time, they said of the article, quote, we stand by every word, which means they did want him cursed. They wanted everyone to hate him. They wanted it to be powerful.
They called him a fascist. The shooter wrote it on his shell casing.
And they wanted Charlie, quote, punished for years of regressive rhetoric. They also made clear that taking down the article was, quote, driven by an abundance of caution for our staff. In other words, they were worried about violence against them by Charlie Kirk supporters.
I believe in good and evil. 1,000%. If you do this, you're going to burn for it. Karma's going to kick your ass. There's a gospel song. It goes, go tell that long-tongued liar, go tell that midnight rider, tell the rambler, the gambler, the rambler, the backbiter, tell him God Almighty is going to cut him down. Johnny Cash covered it. Elvis Presley did it years and years ago. It's an old gospel song. And it's true. Good and evil. Good and evil. Here is Megyn Kelly, because this really, really shook up Charlie Kirk and his wife.
You're playing with fire, messing with this stuff. There actually are demons in this world. Yeah. Calling up the spirit world, in particular the devil's spirit world, can actually have real world consequences. It's not something to mess with. Many Christians believe this. Yeah. This is dangerous. It's not a game. It's literally evil.
Yep.
Second, this is what I really want you all and the people at Jezebel and Etsy to know. Erica and Charlie Kirk heard about these curses.
Listen.
And that news genuinely rattled Erica in particular. She knew Christian teaching on the subject. She loved Charlie, absolutely. And she was scared when she heard of the curses Jezebel had called up. So much so that she and Charlie contacted a friend who I believe she said was a Catholic priest.
Who does that? What kind of people do that? Here is the end of this conversation, Megyn Kelly.
Of course, God's will is the one that matters, and his blessing over Charlie was real and palpable. All you had to do was spend time with Charlie to know that. But why torture a family like this?
Yeah.
A Christian, believing family. Why do this vile thing to a young couple? Parents to two babies living in accordance with the gospel, deeply in love. Yeah. Yes, political, but doing nothing other than speaking publicly about their views and their desires to make other people's lives better. Who would do such a vile thing? Jezebel, that's who. And unbelievably, Etsy.
Yeah. If you like those sites, you need to evaluate yourself as a human being, whether spiritually or not, because you live in darkness. You live in absolute darkness. And honestly, you're going to get your rear end handed to you because good is here. It's here after many years of use. Kaitlin Bennett, the founder of Liberty Hangout, is somebody whose videos I watch all the time on social media. She does what I call woman on the street interviews, goes into the lion's den, confronts violent leftists, and has a great time doing it. She is amazing. She joins us next. You do not want to go anywhere. This is the Rob Carson Show.
White and Rosie, give us a break. Trying to blame me for the floods is sick. It isn't true. I ought to sue. America was glad to lose her. Rosie, she has TDS. Trump lives rent-free in her tiny brain. She is obsessed and maybe possessed. I'm so glad she left the USA. She's calling for a revolution, wants to throw out the Constitution. She's threatening every institution. Rosie O'Donnell threats she's making, wants our government overtaken, would like to see us all forsaken now. She's insane, she's insane, she's insane, that's Rosie. I'm so glad she doesn't live here. No one really cares what Rosie thinks. Give it a rest.
They stripped the titles from Leah Thomas. titles Leo won while still a man. Pen they gave him, they started caving. Pressure from Trump could not withstand. He's still a man, says he is now a female. He looks more like a she-male, the girl with something extra. He's still a man. They took his swimming titles, was part of Trump's master plan. He's still a man.
I make the Democrats look incredibly dumb. Inflation is down, the economy's starting to hum. Still, it's a real good bet, the best is yet to come. Best is yet to come since we bombed Iran. Taking out all their nukes, that was part of the plan. The border's secure once again. Illegals are getting in. Doge has saved us billions. This is what it's like to win. Best is yet to come, and it's gonna be fine. Best is yet to come, hear the Democrats whine. Listen to them whine. The last laugh is mine.
So you would say, because I'm a woman, you would say you and I are the same?
Yeah, just about. Like, categorically, yeah.
Wow.
Of course, there are always differences between, like, individuals, like height, weight, stuff like that.
Penises.
Like, but is there anything fundamentally different than us, between us?
Like, height, hair color, stuff like that.
Penis.
Nothing else?
Like, one or two, like...
Chromosomes.
Features here or there.
Yeah.
Like?
I don't have a uterus.
I mean, well, obviously there's the matter of, like...
You're a dude.
How the bodies develop,
oh my God, that is such a classic. Caitlyn Bennett, I have been waiting to talk to you for so long. Welcome to the Rob Carson Show. I love your stuff online. You do such a great job. Welcome. Glad to have you on.
Thank you, Rob. I'm glad to be here.
Oh my gosh, you're talking to obviously a man wearing women's clothing and all of this, and he is dancing around all of the major real differences, like he has a penis and stuff. That was just unbelievable. Tell me about that exchange and the absurdity you're pointing out, and what you do with your videos.
Yeah, so I saw that individual, clearly a man pretending to be a woman, and he was actually really respectful in his conversation.
Yes.
The clip there doesn't show the full context. At the end, I straight up ask him, I tell him, "You're not a woman," and I said, "I hope you aren't using the women's restroom on this campus." And I told him straight up, "I want you to stay out of my spaces. I want you to stay out of my bathrooms. You don't belong in there. That's not where you're meant to be." And I ended it with saying, "You are perfect the way God made you.
Yes.
You are a man, and you're meant to be a man, and he did not make a mistake when he made you. So please, I said, I'm sorry that there were people in your life that affirmed you in the perfect way God made you, but that is who you're meant to be, and I think you'd find a lot more happiness if you just realized that there's nothing wrong with you in the first place." And I don't think anyone's ever told him that.
Yeah.
And why it's confusing talking to someone like this, because I feel bad for him at one part of it, and the other I'm really angry because I'm like, stop pretending to be me. You're not me. Stay out of my bathroom.
Well, it is, and listen, I appreciate that approach. Your approach was brilliant, and it was something that a good Christian would do. It's something that a person who recognizes someone who is in a crisis, and I would say if you believe you can be the opposite sex and you're not willing to admit you have a penis and you have all of these things that women do not have, and you clearly are a man, your approach to that was honestly what Charlie Kirk would do. I'm not really, and this is one of the things that I love about you, that you are honest that way. You are also not afraid to give people a little what for. I remember there was one woman who was in your face and you said, "Get your pot belly out of here." It was just funny. It was just, listen, I used to write for Rush Limbaugh. I started writing for Rush Limbaugh right out of college, and Rush Limbaugh had a mantra, and it was, use absurdity to point out the absurd. And you have that. Who taught you that?
Thank you, number one. I really appreciate those kind words. I think it was my dad.
Yes.
It's so funny. When I first started doing this and I first started going viral and getting a following, my dad called me up and he said, "Caitlin, you don't understand. The way you laugh at these people when they're mad at you is exactly the way you made me feel." He said, "I remember I would be yelling at you for something you did, and you would just smirk at me and just look at me with this face that's like, who do you think you're talking to?" And he said, "It made me so mad. I swear I would almost black out sometimes. I would be so angry."
You sound kind of like my daughter's 20 years old, and she was totally different than my son. My son, you could put him in a timeout when he misbehaved, and he would sit there 5 minutes, you'd come back and say, "You ready to be a better boy?" He'd go, "Yeah." My daughter, if you could get her to do timeout, I'd say, "Are you ready to be a better girl?" She'd cross her arms and go, "No. That's the way she is. So I think you got a little bit of that. But, honestly, I'm going to tell you, you are also a brave person. Because I'm a typical man. I don't like confrontation, right? If I'm confronted, I will take you down. But I don't like searching for, going to the lion's den like you do. And I don't know if you're not looking to start a fight, but inevitably there's somebody there going to start one with you. And you go anyway. Where do you get the courage to do that sort of stuff?
I genuinely just have so much fun. And that's the thing is I have fun doing this. I don't get angry unless they start putting their hands on me. Then I'm like, okay, but that's why I have security. I never handle that stuff on my own. I pay someone else to handle that part for me. But I genuinely just have so much fun, and I love standing up for what I believe. It's Breitbart who said, he said something along the lines of, "I love standing up for what I believe in, and I love having fun while doing it."
Yes.
And I've loved that quote ever since I first heard it. I genuinely have just so much fun talking to these people. One, because it's absurd, and two, because I think that a lot of people want to say this stuff to them, but they don't have the platform, they don't have the time, and they don't have the ability to go out and do it. And so it's just so much fun. I don't go and try to talk to conservatives because
you don't want people just agreeing with you. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, there's no fun in that.
I usually just like to go into crowds that really love me a lot. That's the only thing I go. But I went to earlier this year when Elon Musk was a Nazi. I don't know if you knew this. For a while, he was a Nazi. Did you know that? Did you hear about that?
I did, a little bit.
It was just so weird. It was so weird. He's no longer a Nazi, I guess. Whatever, whatever. But I went to one of those rallies, and I had a 75-year-old woman scream, F you, to me and my Jewish friend, and called me a Nazi, and him a Nazi, even though he had a Star of David on. And I went to that, and there was no point in talking to them. They had no desire to talk to us. Do you have situations like that where they're just screaming at you? There's no getting to them at all, and how do you get past that?
Oh, yeah, 100%. There's a lot of times where, and I go into this knowing that I'm probably not going to change anyone's mind, but since I started this 7 years ago, I've always said I do not care about changing minds. I just care about influencing and inspiring people who think like me to stand up for themselves. So I never care about changing people's minds, and I've been that way for 7 years. And I see the fruit of that when I do talk to young conservatives, and they say, you're the reason why I wanted to do this, and go out and try to be one of these influencers, for lack of a better word.
Yes.
So I see the fruit in what I set out to do 7 years ago come full circle, which is really a humbling and rewarding experience. But also when you interact and encounter the people that you just won't get through to, you just film them, put them out there, and just show everybody how absurd they are.
This is so
because
yes.
The ones who will talk to you, they see that and they're like, "Oh, good Lord, I cannot be on that side."
Rush. Rush used to do that, and when he passed away, there were a lot of people saying, who is going to fill his shoes? Corporate radio has done its level best to make Rush Limbaugh disappear. I wrote for Rush Limbaugh right out of college for 20 years of my life, and I like to say that I walk in his footsteps. No one will fill his shoes. You and people like you are doing a very good job taking over where Charlie Kirk left off, and I'm confident that we're going to this is going to get much bigger than the left even imagined. And with people like you, with warriors like you, I have no doubt that it is happening. It is going to happen. Caitlyn Bennett, can you hold on for the next break? Would you mind?
Absolutely. Thank you.
I love it. More Caitlyn Bennett coming up on the Rob Carson Show. Do not go anywhere. Harford County. It is the Rob Carson Show. We are talking to Kaitlin Bennett. She is an influencer, I guess, a founder of Liberty Hangout. And if you've ever watched her videos online, her just a matter-of-fact toughness. Kaitlin, I would say your sense of humor, if you were going to, do a spectrum of wines, okay, you'd be like maybe a Riesling, I think John Stewart would be more like a Merlot. I am a getting slapped in the face with a wet fish. That's how wet my sense of humor is, okay? But you do things with a wink and a nod.
Yes, I do. Ever since, I started, as I keep saying it, 7 years ago, I had another member of our team, or cameraman, that wasn't my husband. Right now it's just me and my husband. We're just a two-person team. And he would always say, your one-liners. He would call them my one-liners. And so I always just kept that verbiage of my one-liners there. You got to have fun. You got to make fun of, just like you said, point out the absurd with absurdity.
Here's one where somebody got in your face. Hold on a second here.
Yes. You want to play?
Yeah, I do. You don't fact check? I thought Democrats do. Don't touch me. Gross. Take your pot belly and step back.
Take your pot belly and step back. And this woman's like, and you just took you put her in her place. You're just not going to mess around. And I love that about you. But I've noticed a couple of your videos the last few days, you've got people coming out very aggressively. Have you noticed that just in the last week or two that has begun to happen?
Well, I haven't been out to film since Charlie was murdered. Yes. Unfortunately, I just haven't felt. It's not even that I feel unsafe. It's that I wanted to take the time to pay respect to him and just kind of leave the space open to focus on him and not put out any content right now. Yeah. But here in a couple of days, we are going to go back out to filming, and I'm wondering what the environment will be like. And we're not going to be at a protest, but I'm a little anxious about what a protest will be like, simply because the left is just, they're inspired right now to be violent and to mock and to be disrespectful. And I think something I might truly have a problem with is someone saying that he deserved it to my face. I genuinely don't know how to handle that.
I'm going to tell you, Kaitlin, and I believe this from the bottom of my heart and soul, the left is in its death throes. We have a real potential. I said when Donald Trump was elected, I've been in this business for 30 years. I've been through conservative apartheid for 30 years. I watched it with Rush Limbaugh. I experienced it myself. Donald Trump, they tried to kill him. They tried to put him in jail. They tried to take his fortune. They tried to, he raised his fist to the sky and said, fight, fight, fight. We are seeing in this movement what, Charlie Kirk would have done had he survived. However, Charlie Kirk's murder, his martyrdom, has caused the movement to explode. And this has the left very terrified. I like to say the left dies like movie vampires, dragging, kicking, and screaming, trying to grab you into hell with them. I believe this. I do believe this. Kaitlin, you're a Catholic. Yes. I am a Catholic. I went to church for the first time in 4 years since I went to midnight mass with my mother before she died. And I got to tell you, I've always been this Gen Xer who said, oh, yeah, I'm a recovering Catholic. I'm not joking about that anymore. I'm returning to my faith and my belief, and I have never felt more inspired by God and patriotic in my life. And that's what I've taken from this, Kaitlin, and I believe it's happening.
Absolutely. I know so many people that have never bought a Bible that said they're 50-something years old. They bought their first Bible. I know that my Mass in particular was pretty packed, although we have a pretty devout congregation at my parish, and so I didn't know if it was just like a random, thing that happened, but it was beautiful to see. I know churches are packed, and that's amazing. And as a Catholic, it makes me so happy to hear you say that. And no disrespect to the Protestants listening, but if you're a Catholic coming back to the faith and being in the presence of the Eucharist. It's the best thing that, anyone could ever do. And so I will pray for you, and I hope that that fire just keeps you coming back every Sunday.
Well, I'm going to tell you, it will, Caitlin, and I'll tell you, and I believe that I was raised in the Jesuit tradition. I believe that faith can exist with astronomy. It can exist with science. My mother taught me this. My mother was brilliant. I mean, theologian, businesswoman. She used to invite. I never understood why she would allow Jehovah's Witnesses to come into the house. You know why? Because she wanted to talk theology. She's brilliant. Yeah. And so if you believe in that, then you believe that the universe, and for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, and that goes with evil. And evil is run roughshod around the world. And after trying to kill him, put him in jail and all this, Donald Trump won. They tried to take his life. He raised his fist to the sky. It changed his perspective. And I know, not believe, I know that we are seeing the birth of a worldwide move toward freedom and faith. And Donald Trump, when he delivered that UN address, he wasn't talking to the leaders in that room. He was talking to the people. And I believe it's happening. I really, really do, Caitlin. And you're one of the warriors. And I really believe after Charlie died and was murdered, I wish we could bring him back. But they don't know what they've done, do they?
Yeah, they have no idea. And his wife is such an amazing woman. And they don't know what they've done for the young women in this country since doing that. So many women are looking up to her, and this is going to be such an exciting new thing for women to have someone to look up to. I've never looked up to a woman in politics before.
Yes.
Lila Rose with Live Action has got to be the closest I can come to. Yes. And it's not a general politics with her. It's anti-abortion, which is beautiful and what I love about her. I've never had someone just in general politics to look up to that's a woman. And I'm so excited, and they have no idea what they've done.
Listen, Caitlin, I've got to cut this short because we're out of time.
That's okay.
I want to talk again, and where can everybody find your work? Because you are worth finding and checking out. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm at just Liberty Hangout on YouTube, Kate's Unsafe Space on Facebook, and then just Kaitlin Bennett on X.
All right, God bless you. We'll talk again soon. Let's take a break. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym.
hate to be such a fanboy, but, honestly, she's remarkable. She's a remarkable person. That she's doing this for a living is remarkable. Deplorabella, who is on our show frequently, has written a book, her memoir, Chronicles of Deplorabella. We're going to have her later on in the week. If you don't know about her, she's this diminutive little brilliant woman who's in her early 80s. She came out and spoke to one of my events and left the audience slack-jawed. She's so good. It's called The Chronicles of Deplorabella, and it's available on Amazon. I ordered it yesterday. I can't wait to read it, and I don't like to read books because I read 300 pages of crap every day, and a lot of times I don't want to read when I got off the air. Chronicles of Deplorabella. I got to play this again just for bleeps and giggles. This is Michael Pelka, WPHD show in Philadelphia, decided to see what it would sound like to slow down Kamala Harris's audiobook. And yes, it does sound like she's completely wasted.
In the summer of 2021, during her final trip to Washington as German Chancellor, I hosted Angela Merkel for breakfast at the Vice President's residence.
I think they were serving mimosas.
I am a stickler for being on time. I feel it's a mark of respect. Everyone's time is valuable, but sometimes schedules go sideways and I fall short.
Yeah. Sideways.
You are an evil genius, Michael.
Dude, that is so great.
It's amazing.
June 27th, 131 days to the election.
That's just good radio. Okay, I've done entertainment music radio for years. That's just good radio. Really, really good. Michael Pelka is a brilliant guy. He's filled in on this show, and he's awesome. Brilliant job on WPHD. I used to do some fill-in on old WPHD. You ought to pick us up as an affiliate. I think that would be good, WPHD. If you're listening, you should put my show on because it's kicking butt. That's going to do it for the show. Check out the podcast today. And thank you for watching and listening, by the way, especially you guys on Newsmax YouTube, Newsmax Instagram. We just added this week, already kicking some serious butt. Go to your usual podcast platforms, look up Rob Carson Show and download and subscribe. God bless you. America is founded. Charlie Kirk and his family. And until tomorrow, which by the grace of God is finally Friday, do not catch the stupid. I'll see you then.
All right, Robbie, have a good night.
Dig it back.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.